Welcome back to Techstrong Unplugged. My name is Cassandra Chin, and today we're here with Catherine Paganini.
Thanks for having me.
Introduce yourself.
Sure, I'm Catherine Paganini, Head of Marketing at Buoyant, the creator of Linkerd, and I'm also the co-chair of the TAG Contributor Strategy and the facilitator of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Working Group.
So you're working on some CNCF diversity initiatives. Can you tell me more about it?
Sure. About a year and a half ago, I started the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Working Group, which focuses on creating pathways for deaf and hard of hearing. And basically, it was an idea that is inspired by a program for Maori youth by J.T. Hema. And if you wonder why deaf and hard of hearing, so my high school friend, her parents were deaf and her brother. And I also happen to live next to Gallaudet University, which is actually a very famous university worldwide if you're deaf and hard of hearing, because it is for deaf students, and it's also by deaf faculty, which actually was revolutionary at the time. So that's how it started. And so I created, I wrote a LinkedIn post, which the CNCF shared, and suddenly all these people started to join. And then suddenly we had like a big group of deaf people who wanted to just participate, which was very exciting. And then most recently, I wanted to create more opportunities or expand that effort. And so I'm working on a new initiative that is Linux Foundation wide. So basically the deaf and hard of hearing will kind of be part of it. And then we also launched two other initiatives. One is the BIPOC, which is brand new. We just had our second meeting last week. We had a lot of people, which was really exciting. So it's promising, but very early on. And we also have a blind and visually impaired initiative. Unfortunately, there we have not really found that many people yet. So for some reason, it's a little bit harder to find visually impaired people than deaf in our community. I don't know why, but so if anyone knows anyone, so please send them our way, because you need a critical mass to kind of do something. So that's kind of like the area.
What are the goals of all these different initiatives?
So you're basically three buckets. You have visibility, you have creating a supportive network, and you have advocacy, right? And so visibility is kind of the fun and easy part, right? Like it's basically supporting each other to give talks, being visible, right, in the community. Where more senior members can help more junior members, and then kind of giving them tools to participate in the conversation. Also celebrating each other's accomplishments on social media. That sounds a little fluffy, but if you think about it, if you have like someone who created something or did like a talk or another accomplishment, and you have the entire group that shares that and celebrates that on their social media profiles, then a lot more people see it, right? Again, visibility is important to kind of show people that this community is there and present. And then also like media interviews like here. So this is really good. And then I know you're going to talk to Rob from our Deaf and Hard of Hearing Working Group. So that's really important too for, raising awareness about these different groups and maybe the challenges they face in terms of accessibility. What do they need and so on.
I'm glad I can help you raise awareness.
Yeah, no, it's really important. So thank you.
And why are these initiatives important?
So DEI efforts are being scaled back, as you may know, right? So that's actually very sad. But that makes it even more important for community driven change to kind of happen, right? Like, so we really need we shouldn't be sitting back because companies aren't doing anything anymore, or fewer companies are really doing something, and we need to kind of take action. And it's not that hard. So if enough people know about it, and if we manage to educate the community about the challenges the different groups face, and enough critical mass knows about it and is passionate about it, and and does want to drive this change, we can ultimately push for change. I see it a little bit similar to what's happened with sustainability. Like right now, you have a huge amount of a big part of the young workforce. They don't want to work for a company that's not sustainable, right? They want to say I want to be for a company that is environmental conscious and so on. So that's forcing companies to be more sustainable because they want to tap into that talent pool, right? And to get access to that talent pool, they have to kind of comply and kind of attract them. And so I do think that same demographic is very passionate about DEI, like diversity and inclusion, but they may not necessarily know or recognize the issues, right? For instance, one example is one of our deaf members. He had a job interview with one of the top financial institutions in this country. And all over the website, it says they're accessible and diversity and inclusion is really important. And it was a horrific experience. He explained them what he needed. They didn't read, obviously, the what he asked for. And so basically, it's clear that a lot of it is marketing BS, right? So it's not really, that's what the young people want to hear. So we're going to say we're diverse, we cherish diversity and inclusion, but they don't really fall through. And so with these initiatives, if we can educate the community so they can recognize or they can see the difference between genuine diversity efforts versus just marketing BS, then they can kind of call it out. And then so basically, I think that's something that I hope we can create at some point. Of course, it's a long-term thing. It's not something that's going to happen in 2 years, right? It's maybe a decade, really changing that. So educating enough people so that they recognize it, know what it is, and kind of push for change takes quite a little bit. But I do think that the open source community is very well positioned to do this because we are a community, right? Unlike the traditional companies where you have, you basically, if in the traditional companies you work within your company and you don't interact outside, maybe with some partners or some clients, but there is no such community where you kind of collaborate with people all over the world. And so that network allows us to really educate people and raise awareness. And so I do think that open source can lead the way and just lead the way so the rest of the industry follows with these initiatives and hopefully will bring change.
I hope so too. And what role does allyship play?
Allies are very important because minorities are by definition in the minority, and no minority can bring change on their own, right? And so what allies can do is amplify the voices of underrepresented groups. They can advocate. They can educate, right? That same thing that people from the minority can do, but really kind of we need a lot of people doing that. We need a lot of people advocating, educating, and so on. And and the other thing that's really important as well, minorities need to learn from minorities as well. So it's not about the minority educating the majority, right? But minorities also need to learn about the challenges of the other minority so they can support and support each other, right? And so I'm really excited because we do have 2 deaf and hard of hearing members that are part of the BIPOC group. And the fact themselves that they are there in the meeting, exposing themselves or meeting all these other BIPOC members is also very important because suddenly now they are touching and kind of making these connections. And everyone who is in that meeting who may have never met someone who is deaf or hard of hearing may suddenly have a very different perspective of accessibility. Because I always say, accessibility is a very abstract concept if you don't know anyone who needs it, right? It's we know it's good, we know we should do it, but it's kind of a checkbox, right? So
yeah, I do feel that a bit.
But if you meet someone and you put a face to accessibility, right? Suddenly it's not just a checkbox. And then it makes also people think more about it, right? it's just like more awareness and so it just focuses people on the importance of that. And so that I think is very important. So I think that the fact that we're seeing this crossover is very important. And I'm hoping that we can see more of that, like different groups, like different people being part of different groups and helping each other and supporting each other. I think that's really important.
Can you share some wins?
So the wins are only for the deaf and hard of hearing working group so far because the other ones are too new. But KubeCon has been accessible since a year for deaf signing individuals. So I don't know if you went to the keynotes, but if you were there, you might have seen interpreters on stage. There are interpreters for the deaf attendees as well, and allowing them to network. So that's amazing. We have several community activities. So we're going to have a community a sign language crash course tomorrow. And so basically that's just like a way of people to interact with the community and get like another chance, like not only having people at the talk or so on, it's another chance. So it's a fun way of kind of making those connections. We have an open space discussion. We have a kiosk. All these things are very all these things kind of help like making those connections that will hopefully change people's relationship to the word accessibility. And then one example that is like really cool, I think, is like, and we have some of them, but like that is like very timely is Anastasia, one of our deaf members. She just became the first deaf CNCF ambassador. And she's always, she submitted several talks, and she teamed up with someone from the community. Costas is his name. He's an Argo maintainer and has really become her mentor, and kind of like they teamed up for conference talks. And it's just really great to see how like the ability to come to conferences, to meet all these people, is kind of opening up so many opportunities and making professional connections. All the things that we as hearing individuals, we take for granted. We just go and make professional connections that will eventually kind of like maybe like show us another job opportunity, or like it's so important to have those. And before, it was not available. If you're not able to go to conferences or participate in the community, you basically don't have these opportunities. And so it's nice to see like these, how people kind of start growing and making those connections, and also participate, like take advantage of the things that you and I take for granted.
Yeah, that's very important. And for the community members listening to this, how can they get involved?
Yeah, so if you're a part of the minority, like any minority group, like we should join. Like the more people we have, the more effective we can be. But anyone can join, right? I'm not part of any minority. I'm very passionate about that, and we need allies. As I said, like allies are very important. And so we have a Slack channel for the deaf and hard of hearing. We have a Slack channel for BIPOC. And for the blind and visually impaired, that's exactly the name of the Slack channel. So it's very easy to find. If you don't want to get too much involved, that's too much, that's okay. You can still be an ally. Follow our members on social media. Share their posts. We're sharing stuff about accessibility and so on. So share it, because that's, again, visibility is really important. So if anyone can help, like get more eyeballs, that is already... you're already being an ally. So you can be more involved, as I said, like by joining, but you can also just help share and spread the news and learn about accessibility and then educate your network, basically.
I'm really happy that you're supporting this initiative a whole lot.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine.
Okay. Thank you too for having me.